Hello, welcome back to Armchair Armory, and it has finished at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 3. And with that, whatever slim hope that us as Arsenal fans had of us potentially winning the league, that is now gone. The title race is effectively over. I think if even if we beat Nottingham Forest, which is our next game at the City Ground next Saturday, and City beat Chelsea, they win the league. So effectively it's over. I don't know where to begin. Disappointing overall. I think we were second best for most of the game, particularly second half. I think we almost forgot the way we play. We almost forgot how to play football in some circumstances. I think the injury to Martinelli just before half-time didn't really help. It's clear to show that, and also the injury to Zinchenko before the game didn't really help either. It felt as if we couldn't play the way that we normally do with Zinchenko in the side, because obviously when Tierney comes in, he plays a lot more on the flanks, whereas Zinchenko will cut inside and join Partey or Jorginho and Xhaka in this case in midfield. So it felt like we couldn't get out the races. We couldn't play our game. But full credit to Brighton. They were by far the better team. It felt like very similar to the game. Not quite the same, but it felt very similar to the Newcastle game at St James's Park last season, where it just felt like we couldn't get anywhere. There was a point in the game where I couldn't even see where we would even get a goal from. Roy Keane just made a very, very good point on Sky Sports just now that we looked mentally and physically shot, and that's true. I mean, I was looking at players like Saka and Odegaard, and they just didn't look like they were up for it. Maybe because I watched most of the City game at Goodison Park against Everton before, and the game that we all thought. I mean, maybe the consciousness of Arsenal fans was in the players as well. This morning, I woke up and thought City might drop points today. If they were going to drop points in any game, it would be this game. After a very hard-fought draw in Madrid in midweek, I thought they might. And after they scored their first goal, 2 minutes later, well, maybe like less than a minute later, Haaland scores 2-0, the game's gone. There's no way at that point Everton are getting back into it. And I think maybe that was where it just brought us all down to earth to think, yeah, there's no way that's 11 wins on the bounce for City. So in a way, they deserve it. From the season they started with to go on to potentially looking like they're going to win a treble, it's pretty crazy. It's disappointing. I felt that on the day we were second best. We were poor, particularly second half. But I won't take away from the fact that this has been an incredible season for Arsenal. This has probably been the best season of football I've seen from an Arsenal side collectively. I'm not talking about just today, before people start clipping that I've seen in a long time, probably since the Invincibles and shortly after. If I wanted to go really recently, I'd probably say since like 2009 or something like that. I don't think I've seen, an Arsenal team perform the way that they have this season. So I'm not going to sit here and slag off the team and say that they're a bunch of bottle jobs and all this kind of stuff. And obviously they're going to be people. I'm pretty sure Gary Neville's licking his lips right now, saying "I told you so" and all that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure TalkSport are going to be doing their whole stupid shtick of, has anyone seen Arsenal and all that kind of stuff. Then we're going to get, rival fans saying we bottled it. And in some senses we have. We went from a very good position, 8 points clear, to now we've essentially now handed City the title. I said, I think it was in the Chelsea preview or the Newcastle preview, I can't remember now, but I said, if the one thing we don't want to do is just hand City the title, and that means winning all 5 games between now and the end of the season since the City loss. And we just didn't turn up today for whatever reason, whether it be pressure because we knew City win, whether it be we're just exhausted. I don't know. But the thing is, we've got to keep going. I still believe, even though the league is effectively done now, I think we still need to get those 6 points. We still need to end the season with 2 wins. And that's going to be tough. That's going to be really tough. I mean, Wolves at home, I'm not too worried about, because Wolves have been quite bad this season. They've been flirting with relegation and all this kind of stuff. But the game I am worried about is obviously next up at the City Ground against Nottingham Forest. The last 2 times that we've been there, both times in the FA Cup, Wenger's last season, and it was last season. We lost there, lost 4-2 in the game in 2018, and then we lost 2018, and then we lost 1-0 last season, January last season. So I'm always worried going there, but I always think of it as a ground. When they got promoted, I always thought, I really do not want to go to the City Ground. Obviously not knowing that we'd be in the position that we're in now, but yeah, it's still going to be quite hard to go there. And the way I can see things going now, I mean, it might be me just being pessimistic after, quite a devastating loss at home to Brighton. I'm actually not confident for the game at Nottingham Forest. I have a feeling we're probably going to drop points there as well. And essentially, yeah, we've handed them. We've sort of like handed them the title, but they're holding on to one arm of the title, and we're still holding on to it. And I think at Nottingham Forest is where we just let go of it, essentially. Yeah, disappointing. Disappointing on the day, and I'm sure, after a few days I'll get over it, but disappointing. I did wake up this morning having a bad feeling. I thought that City would drop points to Everton, but we wouldn't do the job against Brighton, so I was half right. So we'll just have to see what happens for the rest of the season. I think we do need to try and finish strong, at least end the season with a little bit of confidence, despite what's happened. But yeah, full credit to Brighton. They played really well today. Full credit to City, going on this mad run, pretty much similar to ours in '98, to go on to win the title. Everyone is at the start of the season or midway through the season, everyone saw them as second best, and look at how their experience and their tenacity, and the fact that this proves that like Pep Guardiola is one of the best coaches in the world, best managers in the world. So full credit to them. Yeah, it's annoying. But to be fair, I have been saying throughout the entire season that I didn't, when it came down to it, I didn't think we were going to do it, just because our strength in depth is not as good as City's. It's an Arsenal thing, not quite on the level of Spurs, but like it's also an Arsenal thing to do something like this, get in a really, really good position, go on a run, and then when it matters, when the time comes and the pressure gets to us, we completely drop our shopping, and it slips out of our hands within 2 or 3 games. And this is kind of what's been happening for as long as I've been an Arsenal fan, apart from like those 3 seasons where we've won titles and the one-off games where we won FA Cups and got through to finals and that kind of stuff. When it comes to the league, I've seen Arsenal bottle it more times than I can remember, and this is just another one. This is just another one of the famous collapses, or the famous bottles, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's a shame, because it would have been really nice for everything that's happening to me personally at the moment. It would have been really nice to see Arsenal win a league title, because I sort of agree with what Jamie Carragher has said, that like I don't think we're going to be in this position next year. I think United will be better. I think Chelsea will be better. Like, people seem to think Chelsea won't come back. I think Chelsea will be better. I'm pretty sure City will be, multiple times better than they are now, when they had been at the start of the season. I think Liverpool will come back stronger. So I can't see us for at least, unless we sign, depending on the players we sign, I can't see us being in this position next season. that speaking of the summer, that's something that's going to be interesting as well. It's going to be interesting to see what our strategy is going into the summer, what players we bring in. I sure hope it's going to be somebody like Caicedo, who played really well today as well, or Declan Rice, or someone like that, like those sort of players that will, enhance us the way that Zinchenko and Trossard and Gabriel Jesus have. I hope there's more of that to come. But, overall, I'm proud of the way the team has performed this season. It's kind of not gone as well as we'd liked towards the end, but yeah, I can't get angry, put it that way. I can't be angry at the way that this team, because at the start of the season, there's no way that I would have even predicted that we'd be challenging for a title and taking City as far as we can. But with that said, there's always a caveat to these things in football. It now puts the expectation up because, and I did say it I think back end of last year, I said, I think it was when we were going for top 4, and I think I said to somebody, it might have been Stefan actually, the Man United fan that comes on the channel, I think I said to him, I have a feeling Arteta's going to do an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where he's going to finish like really high, and then the following season he'll do badly and get sacked. So I think the expectation will be higher because we'll be back in the Champions League, we'll be, playing with the big boys, so to speak. And, if things don't go well, the fans are going to want him out and we're going to be back to where we started again. But yeah, I'll try not to remain on that negative thought. I think, in general, it's been a positive, progressive season for Arsenal. And despite what happened today, we should be proud of the team. There will be people out there that will be calling for the manager's head and cussing the players and all this kind of stuff, but it's not an Arteta thing, it's not a this group of players thing or a young players thing, it's an Arsenal thing. Like, it's happened more times than I can remember. 2003 it happened, you could say the 2006 Champions League final was something similar to that, was a collapse. The amount of times that we've gone on a title charge, particularly like 09-10, I think it was 08-09. No, I think it was 09-10 when we went on a title charge and then fell away. Like 15-16 was top at Christmas. I think we were like 5 points clear, something like that. Ended up finishing second. The top 4 race last season. It's not the first time this has happened. So I can't be too angry, and especially where we were last season, the way that we crumbled last season was a lot worse than this season, I'd say. And the fact that, the spark was there again, the spark of not thinking that you're going into a game scared, you felt like you could beat anyone. And some of the scouts we've taken this season have been unbelievable. We can't sit here and say that they're pathetic, spineless, embarrassing, all the usual shit you'd hear on places like AFTV, for example, in the old days. Right, well, 2 games left to go. Let's see where we go from here. The league is done, but I think we still need to try and get positive results from those last 2 games, although I'm not confident about Nottingham Forest. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I've spoken for long enough. So, I'll be back again towards the end of the week with the preview for Nottingham Forest. So until then, as always, take care and stay safe.